We've got Jeff.
Yes, that's a
Still got
great
Jeff.
excuse. We've got Jeff.
We've got Jeff.
He's definitely not infected by, the venom symbiote.
Yeah, nothing to worry about there.
Just makes him stronger, right? Right?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
He might not be compatible in die, so.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crabby D&D. I am here with my players, Cat.
Hi.
Kirv.
Hello.
Kay.
Hello.
And Romulus.
Greetings.
We may get a Vinny later. I don't know. He hasn't said anything yet, and it's quite possible that he's stuck playing Zelda still. We'll have to see.
Stuck in the Zelda loop.
Yeah, I mean, he's stuck in a Zelda feedback loop. Who knows? With their new creating system that's just stupid. Anyway. It's a great system. It's just you get some really weird stuff out of it. So, are you all ready, or shall we? Or shall we commence the session? Yes.
Disconnected from the server.
Disconnected from the server. That's not good. Sudz is still in
What does
here.
this mean? What does this mean?
The archaic
I mean,
texts.
Cat's died.
Yeah, cat dead.
If you disconnect, you die.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cruel. Right, I'll be changing a character every session.
Yeah.
Alright, yes, so make sure you've got your character sheets up and you have joined the tabletop, because I know that there are 2 of you still missing.
Mine's just loading, sorry.
That's right.
Choose colour. There we go.
There we go.
Slowly loaded.
Slowly loaded. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Good evening, all. It's rather hot here where I am, and so the dice shall be 2, I decree it. But let's dive into this session. Last time, our party of lost adventurers, Cat, Kay, Kirv, Romulus, and Vinny, finished up their tasks in Zaka's Crossing and decided that they would pursue a cartographer's map to an abandoned giant's fortress. After some early days of tracking, it involved some trolls, a friendly cloud dragon, and a series of object-throwing ghosts. The party otherwise acquired some interesting ghost steel weapons and proceeded to make their way to the base of the mountains, leaving the flats and the gently rolling hills behind as the rocky terrain and the climb began. As it ended on their 3rd day of their journey, harrowed by the weather, the party scaled the mountain's edge through thick rain and cold winds, with the night setting in soon. Romulus, otherwise aiding the party through the mountains, found an alpine woods between 2 mountains, spanning what was the natural valley from what Romulus could tell. However, during this time when the party bedded down to rest with the heavy weather and enjoying a good night's rest after some light exhaustion from the day before, we pick up to the sounds of the snoring Romulus, and we see exactly where this leads us.
That's how I imagine he snores.
Yes, probably. So, Harlan, could you please roll me a d12 for the random encounter table, please?
I would rather not, thank you.
Do it.
Do it.
Is that the D12?
Yep, the yellow one.
Am I right in thinking that very low or very high are the bad ones?
No, because all of the... So just so you know, the table goes from 1 to 24.
Bad.
So you're getting a 1 to 12 result, which means that the lower it gets, the worse it gets.
Well,
Okay, you know what?
Nearly a 3.
Could have been worse. Nearly a 3.
Okay. I would now like you to roll a... go ahead and roll me another d12 for me, please.
Oh, don't like that. 8.
Okay. So, through the night, you, Romulus, sleep. As nothing particularly wakes you. Cat,
Mm.
you are suddenly pulled awake by the urgings of Jeff, shall we say.
Urgings of Jeff. Okay. What's wrong? Okay.
There's something going on out here.
Okay, I'm gonna peep through his eyes.
Okay. Looking through the eyes of Jeff. Sounds like a magical item, it does. Seeing through the eyes of Jeff, you look out onto the alpine woods. Go ahead and make me a perception check, please.
Cat, what do your Jeff eyes see?
I will tell you. Oh. 6.
6. Okay. It's very difficult to see past the trees and the natural landscape of this particular area. Plus, it's dark. And what Jeff may have previously seen, you look around and you can't see anything.
Okay. I'm gonna... Just quickly... what's the time like? Where's the moon in the sky? How do I tell time?
Go ahead and
I don't
roll
know.
me a survival check, please.
Cool. Well, that's a little bit better. That is a 13.
13. With the heavy-set weather today, looking up, trying to seek the moons, you are unable to see them past the clouds and the rain. Plus, the cover of the trees probably doesn't help from any particular angle. So as it currently stands, Jeff can't see it, and you can't tell what time of night it is. I will say, you do begin to now hear, just gently over the sound of the rain, the sound of a snoring Minotaur.
Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm gonna get up, stretch. Oh, okay. Groggily get out of the tent and just like just grab Romulus, just give him a shake. Romulus!
What?
You fell asleep.
Ah. That is unfortunate. Is anyone dead?
I don't know. Jeff said he sees something out there. I couldn't see anything, but he says there is something amiss, and I haven't checked to make sure everyone else is still alive. You fell asleep on your watch. Stay awake. I'm gonna go check on them.
Apologies, I think keeping everyone in line has tired me out.
So, can I get a bearing of where Jeff thinks he saw
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Okay,
Looking
and
up from
I'll-
where Jeff is generally looking, it's further up the mountain, and you can just about make out what look to be kind of gentle flashes of lightning that otherwise kind of shoot across the horizon for a moment, kind of leaving these strange patterns through the sky before dissipating.
Okay. Jeff said whatever he saw was up that way. So, keep an eye on that direction if you can. I know you can't see in the dark. Maybe we should go and wake Vinny up, possibly. Who was taking next wash?
Next wash.
Vinny was washing at some point. He was taking next watch, I believe. So
I believe he was taking the second watch.
second, and I was taking the last.
You were taking the last one, yeah.
Okay. So, okay, I'm going to. Who else in the party has night vision?
Vinny.
Cool.
Look, if Chris lets go of his iron grip on levels, I too shall be able to see in the dark.
Okay, I'm gonna go wake Vinny up.
I mean, Kay and Kirv can see in the dark, but they're not going to be able to participate in a watch or be able to help without potentially suffering points of exhaustion.
Hmm.
Don't know. Do you have exhaustion?
I've slept.
That's
Up
what I
to this
mean.
point.
So, at the
More
moment,
than-
you two, currently Kirv and Kay are currently sleeping off their exhaustion. So if they get woken up to try and participate in checks, you're going to have your disadvantage still. And then
Yeah.
at the end of your
And they're
rest,
not
you're
gonna
going to
get
have. They'll get it. They might get it back. They just have to roll a con save. If they don't beat a DC 10, then they don't recover from the point of exhaustion. It stays the same.
Well, knowing full well they're exhausted, I wouldn't wake them up. I'm gonna go wake Vinny up and see if he can see what's going on.
Okay. So you
See
go
if
over.
any of us can work out what the time is.
Okay. Vinny otherwise wakes up, comes out. He'll make a survival check. So how good is his survival?
Is there any chance I could look at the position of the stars? Work it
You'd
out.
be hard pressed to see the stars on tonight's rainy and cloudy night, but I'll say you go ahead and make me a survival check just in case. Who knows? You might get a glimpse of it, or you might be able to tell from other means. We'll see.
You didn't say disadvantage, so I'm just rolling the 1.
No, this will just be a regular roll at this point because the DC is
15.
very high.
15.
15. So you're trying to gauge what the time currently?
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you've been asleep for maybe 2-3 hours, but you can't tell. Naps are difficult to gauge sometimes.
It could have been as many as 2 or 3 hours. Or less. Or potentially more.
So what's Vinny rolling? Is Vinny trying to see what's going on further away, or is Vinny
Yeah, so
trying
basically,
to...
Cat will point in the direction of where Jeff thought he saw something. Of like, hey, we potentially might have others around.
That is a 13 from Vinny. As Vinny otherwise looks up and kind of tries to scan the horizon, there's not really much there, unfortunately. And Vinny kind of just looks back and shakes his head. I can't see anything, Cat.
Okay. For the rest of our watches, should we have them?
I'll keep an eye out during my watch. You two get back to sleep.
Okay. I'm gonna drag Romulus's sorry ass into the tent.
Right, Vinny will then roll to get some rest, or not some rest, to perceive. Okay. Vinny sees some wonderful things over the course of the night. The things, in fact, that you missed. And because Vinny's not here, I'm not going to detail them. You're going to have to leave that in mystery. What, do I hear whining?
Boo!
Don't boo me,
I want to
I'm
make
right.
I want to make an argument that Vinny would tell me if they look tasty.
You'd be hard-pressed to eat them.
I'm guessing they're just electricity.
In this particular instance, I will say it is a war between heaven and earth, more accurately.
Oh, giants are fighting.
Not quite. Larger elementals.
They're not fighting. They're doing something that also begins with F.
Oh!
Flaunting?
Frolicking.
Fucking. I was so tempted to
Barbarian.
just go lightly with fornicating, but then I was like, nah, just. It's Romulus, he just say
my-
fucking.
My response was going to be what we were trying to do, foraging, but, you know,
Flapping.
flapping. Ooh. Okay. Well, cool.
So what do we do?
Well, Cat, you wake up after this. Vinny wakes you up and kind of just goes, I spotted what it was. There are some elementals fighting up the mountain, but they shouldn't be causing any issues.
Oh, okay. That's noted. Okay, thank you. Hopefully that'll deter too many things from coming round.
And Vinny otherwise climbs back into the tent. Okay. So, now, I'd like you to go ahead and roll me a perception check, please, Cat.
Perception. Cool. Yeah, I'm using Jeff.
Because he has advantage. Okay, so you
Yeah.
use his perception instead of your own.
Yep. He also has a +3 where I have a -1.
17. Jeff can very clearly see, and looking through Jeff's eyes, you can now see what looks to be rather large earth elementals. From this distance, the mountaintop looks natural for the most part, but the size of the elemental atop it seems massive. It's difficult to gauge exactly how large the elemental is, given the distance away that it is, but you can see outlines and silhouettes of what looks to be several other smaller elementals around it, as they are hurling rocks into the air and storm elementals are shooting lightning bolts down at them. In a natural clash between the two, they are fighting. To what end, you do not entirely know.
That's actually fascinating. Cat will be watching this and probably quite enjoying, possibly taking the occasional note of what's going on and why. Otherwise, I don't really plan to do too much. I want to quickly talk to Sychania, but that's about it.
Okay.
So, after that last escapade in the hut, where I kind of lost control, I found out you're the key. Does that mean that you can slightly loosen the lock so I can talk to whatever this is? Gesturing to myself.
Sychania shrugs.
Do you have a problem with me trying it? Not now. I want to make sure that someone else is watching over. But maybe in the future?
Sychania shakes, for the most part, shakes their head. They don't seem to have a problem with it.
Okay. Well, cool. Thank you. Well, it's nice that you're back. I missed you. A lot. A hell of a lot.
Sychania just kind of nuzzles up against you, and you can just feel like the bond becoming a little bit tighter for a moment, in almost a squeeze.
Don't know. I mean, you're very old. Have you ever seen something like this? Sort of pointing in the direction of the elemental things.
Sychania kind of looks in the direction, but there doesn't seem to be any further reaction before kind of resting her head on your lap.
It's moments like this you realise how very small we are. The world is a crazy big place. I didn't realise.
Finally, Vinny returns from the war.
Aha! Welcome, Vinny. Maybe. Hopefully.
Do you think Romulus will be upset if I asked to start cooking breakfast for us? I know
So-
how much he loved it last time.
Sychania frantically shakes her head. No, Romulus wouldn't mind.
Cool. We don't have a fire, so this could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's wet. Okay. Oh no, we haven't. We've got the oven, haven't we? That little makeshift oven we made.
Yeah, you do currently.
Oh. Cool. Alright, well just before everyone wakes up and it starts lightening, I'm going to try and cook.
Okay. Give me a cook's utensils check with disadvantage as you do not have the proper tools.
I do not have the proper tools. And cool. What is a cook's utensils set? What do I need to add to this? Or subtract because I'm...
This would be wisdom. Because it would be equivalent to survival in this instance.
Wow. A wisdom is still -1, so that'll be a 14.
14. Okay, despite all efforts, you manage to gather a few bits and pieces from the area which you think looks safe. You chuck them in a pot, and you think, I'm happy with that.
Cool. Alright, I'm going to go and wake up Romulus, as I know he slept most of it, so it's not going to matter if he wakes up slightly early. Um,
That's probably accurate.
yeah. I gotta go wake him up. Romulus! Romulus! Can you test something before everyone else wakes up? I did some
Depends what
cooking.
it is. You cooked.
Don't worry, I didn't use all your spices. I remember last time you
Ooh.
got very sad.
What did you use to?
Uh,
What have you made?
just some bits and pieces that I found around.
As in foraging or looking through people's packs? What was the circumstance?
Uh, mostly foraging.
Mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
All right, I'll give it a look and we'll see. I go up to the food.
Mm-hmm.
What check is it to see if this is edible?
This would be a Constitution check.
Okay.
Actually, I'll say Constitution or Survival of your choice, and tell me which one it is, because one will be testing it via eating a bit, and the other one will be testing it via looking at it. But they'll have different results.
I gotta eat it.
Okay, so Constitution it is, please.
Oh, it's an 11.
11?
Mhm.
Okay. You try a bit. The taste is pretty good. It's a little bitter, though.
It's a little bitter, but otherwise all right. What did you put in it?
Well, there was some, some leaves on that bush over there.
I look at that bush over there. Is it dangerous, Chris?
No, by the looks of it, that's probably what's giving it its bitter taste. It's not an edible
Okay.
bush, but it's not a dangerous one by any means.
Okay.
And times got desperate. I know that we also have to have meat and stuff in our foods because, yeah. So I cast Mold Earth and I found some worms and some other bugs. Just really good. So I put them in there as well. Then I might have pinched a pinch of your salt. Literally was a pinch of salt. And the water. Which I'm now running low on water, but water. I'm kind of boiled it all together.
It's also raining, so you're going to be fine on water, but yeah.
No, fun. We're fine for water, so yeah.
All right then. Well, I've certainly eaten worse, but maybe we'll stick to proper ingredients when I take you through a few lessons.
Okay, but considering how hard pressed we are for food, we don't have much in the way of proper ingredients. Hence, worms. Trust me, I'm not a fan of eating.
I mean, you guys are hard pressed for ingredients. I'm doing fine.
Okay, well, tomorrow night then I'll go in your bag and I'll get proper ingredients.
No, you won't, because that's my bag, and as we've established, stealing is wrong. Well, then again, so is killing rats.
Yeah, I know.
Turning
I
them
can't believe
into-
you lot killed them all. All of them.
Yes, who would ever turn a rat into jam on a wall? Who would do that, Cat? Who?
Damian, I can't believe it though. Just the look of like indecision, just like not looking. Damian.
Damian,
Should we go and wake everyone up? Oh, by the way,
Probably
there are elementals fighting last night.
Elementals?
Elementals. Just point sort of like up there. They were like Storm and Earth, and they were just hurling rocks and fighting. It was weird, but also
Fair.
really cool.
Fair enough. Well, we should wake the others once they've had enough rest, and then be on our way. But well done on making making breakfast.
Also, before we go wake the others up, I was talking to Cychania last night,
Yes.
and I'm gonna try and communicate with the other me.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
If it's on my terms, hopefully it'll be a bit easier. I also understand that attacking it is a bad idea. That's how it gets free, with Cychania being the key. But if I'm gonna try and understand this, I mean, going off of from what I can guess, I don't know 100%, but this thing has all of those others. Maybe it's a victim as well.
Maybe it is, but maybe it isn't.
Which is why I wanted you around when I did.
I think we should also have someone versed in magic with us. Vinny casts spells, right?
Vinny does? I mean, he talks to animals, so that's magical.
Maybe we should just have everyone there with us just in case.
Okay.
At least, if not necessarily there with us, but at least nearby. If something goes wrong, I trust them enough to, have them help.
Okay, I just don't want any of them getting hurt. Like last time, I don't even know the repercussions to what happens to Kay. He's got some rats that have been not infected by it, but affected by its magic, so...
We can only keep going and doing what we can to try and make sure that we're all safe. The magic hasn't hurt you directly thus far, so as long as we're careful, I think we ought to ensure that we work together rather than go off and do our own things.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, well let's go wake them up then.
And while that's going on, Kay, you were waking up early, you said.
Yes.
So, you otherwise got up nice and early. You saw Cat and Romulus otherwise having a little chat to one another. Cat had just showed off the preparing of food, and you otherwise skulked away. So go ahead and roll me a stealth check. I'll say with advantage, because you're doing this against unaware creatures. Okay, yeah, easy enough. You bypass their passive perception as you otherwise slink off in the direction that your rats showed you. It doesn't take you long to find them. You travel about maybe 2-3 minutes at most before you find what looks to be the kind of small burrow hole where you saw the or which your rats scouted out and found the small creatures that you'd been informed of the day before. Do you head inside?
Yes.
Okay.
I am looking to gather food for people's.
Okay. Climbing into the small hole, otherwise kind of squeezing in as best you can, having a look around, you can see on the interior of here what looks to be a rather large hare. It's currently sat in a portion of a kind of a cutout section of this tunnel here, where the tunnels seem to stay about the same width, so you could squeeze through all this tunnel network if you wanted to. But the creature is currently huddled against the corner. I'm going to say go ahead and make me a stealth check with disadvantage as you're trying to do it in a squeezed space.
That's a 16.
16, okay. So the mountain hare does not seem to have woken up yet, but it is currently sleeping and otherwise curled up in a corner of this section of the tunnel.
I am going to make sure that I can be able to back out of here easily before I do anything. And I am not going to kill it right away. I am going to do my best to try and grab it by its ears and then pull it out while it's still alive.
Okay. So I'll say wiggling around as best you can. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check. I'm going to say this is just to see if you can get a general idea. Your point of exhaustion has gone now, so you just make a regular roll now. Okay. Having a little bit of a wiggle round, you find a comfortable position where you feel like you can pull yourself out using your combination of your tails and your claws, while having, or your tail and your claw rather, while having the other hand free to potentially grab at the rabbit's ears. This will be a grapple check, so I'm going to say go ahead and make me an attack roll here. This will be using your strength. This will be with advantage, but with also disadvantage because you are squeezed, but the creature is currently asleep. So go ahead and give me that roll. Okay, versus the AC of a mountain rabbit or mountain hare, that's nice and easy. You otherwise quickly reach over, grabbing the ears of the creature and pulling as you pull yourself out of the den, otherwise waking the mountain hare up, and the mountain hare will be surprised for the time being. What do? You are currently standing at the base of the hole. The area around you seems to be quite quiet and dormant, and you can see very little as you otherwise look around.
I am going to take my cloak and wrap it around the body of the hare. I want to see. Kay's not really versed very well when it comes to killing things for other people to eat.
Okay.
So he's trying to get the hare to. He's going to try and restrain the hare in his cloak so he can be able to take it back to Romulus to see how Romulus will prepare it.
Okay. I will say go ahead and make me a... I'm going to say this is going to be another athletics check. This will be you versus the hare. I'm going to say the hare has disadvantage because you're doing this during a surprise round. So the hare with disadvantage got 2 relatively high rolls, so that is a 14.
As a 15.
Okay. So in this particular instance, as you otherwise wrap the cloak around the hare, holding it in place, you otherwise hold it close to your chest, and it's otherwise you can feel it kicking and bumping against you as it's going to make an attack roll disadvantage on its turn. No. As it is otherwise kicking against you as best it can, but is otherwise unable to do anything. Yeah. You make a break for it back to the camp.
Yeah, I'm just going straight back.
Okay. I'm going to say you can either maintain the 15 you currently have, or you may re-roll. I will let you choose.
I don't have the confidence to re-roll, so I'm most likely gonna stick with this 15.
Okay. So I will roll a break free with disadvantage. There's a nope. I'll do another one. That's a nope. And the final one is also a nope. As Kat, you're waking everybody up. Kay's missing from the tent. And you otherwise turn around and note this to Romulus. Before Romulus, you otherwise turn and you see Kay rushing through the bush, carrying a parcel of some form wrapped in his cloak that is about 3/4 of Kay's size, because a mountain hare is a small creature, as is Kay.
What you got there, Kay?
I found a hare. I found food.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Very well done. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good work.
Would you like me to finish it off?
How
It
is
is
it still
still-
alive?
Yeah, it's still visibly kicking and trying to escape. I'm going to do one more roll while it's amongst your party in case, you know... No, it's a natural one.
Yes, I don't know how other people go about doing such a thing for preparing it for themselves. So I thought I'd leave it up to somebody that actually cooks.
Very well. Let me just. I just take it and snap his neck.
Okay.
The look of absolute disgust and horror.
Yeah,
is
I'm
the
gonna say
crack.
there's. I'm gonna say there's no need for a roll for this. You know what you're doing. This thing has 1 hit point. Oh no, correction. It has 4 hit points, but I'm pretty sure you could do that because your strength score is high enough.
Yeah. My strength draw is high
Yeah,
enough to
so-
just insta kill.
Just. There's the snap sound is you begin to like unfurl your cape, and there's just this rabbit with its head on backwards.
I see.
Yes, the trick is to make sure that it's as quick and easy as possible. Right, the next thing to do, I'm going to start drain it and make 2 very clean incisions and start draining the rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just
Oh,
one
shit.
if I go over the throat, but I am trying to avoid too much staining. So
Can I make a
we'll go with
request?
whatever's most efficient.
Can I
So
make a
you
request?
remove. Oh yes.
I was just curious if I could have its pelt since I hunted it.
Of course, I can certainly try and prepare that for you. Would you also like its blood? We can collect it and make black pudding. It's a type of food.
There's food that's made with just blood.
Yes. It's not for everyone, but it is arguably quite nutritious.
I can give it a try.
All right. So I gather the rabbit blood also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to strip it, including the bones. I'm going to use those to make some stock.
I will say one thing which does is a general note here. Kirv, I assume you're awake.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah. At Romulus's mention of black pudding, you recognise that. You make that
Oh,
in hell.
no.
It's the only thing you're allowed to eat.
And it's called black pudding.
Yep.
Oh.
You do get grey pudding as well, which is made of the souls of people, but that's, a different meal.
I'm present in this conversation.
Mhm.
Black pudding? Really?
Yes. It's, made from blood, and
I know
I
what
don't-
black pudding is. It's
Is
all
the-
we ever effing eat, okay? I thought
How
you
is
did it-
your black pudding made? Because much like the goose, it's possible that your black pudding looks different than our black pudding.
Black pudding is black pudding.
A goose is a goose.
Exactly.
So ours is made with blood and the fat or suet of the creature that the blood came from, along with cereals such as oats, oatmeal, barley, that sort of thing.
I'm really sorry, I just heard Mum shouting for me.
That's alright.
You just sort of all congeal it together. It's similar to classical blood sausage that you may be aware of.
My
Who's the
mother,
what?
apparently, who's talking to me from my home realm, wants to know why it's red pudding and not black pudding, not red pudding.
Because generally, when the blood dries and congeals, it becomes more brown, and the cooking process often turns it even darker, meaning that it in fact looks more black than it does brown or red.
I'm sure brown pudding would have really soared and taken off.
Yes, brown pudding sounds a lot less metal.
Brown pudding was already
Because it
taken.
looks black.
That's one way of simplifying it.
Also, it should be noted that whilst it is referred to as a pudding, this in fact comes from the French boudin, originally from the Latin butellus, meaning small sausage. So in fact, what it is called is black small sausage.
I'm really sorry, I'm struggling to hear you now.
That is entirely fair. I was going into the etymology of pudding in the word in the food black pudding. Oh, also, black puddings are a creature in this world that is unrelated to black pudding, the foodstuff.
Also true.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
What the? Oh. I'm
So there's living black pudding too?
Apparently so.
Are they edible?
I would not. For me, no. For you, probably.
Yeah.
Now, I am going to be preparing it using, obviously, the intestines of the rabbit to make individual black pudding. Obviously, this will be a bit smaller than your average, but well, that is what we're working with here. I'll be using the fat and stock from the bones in order to make the suet and what have you, and whatever oats or flour I have available to me.
Okay. Also, go ahead and make me a general survival check. Also, with advantage, because Kay will be assisting you, I imagine.
Yes.
Very well. Any chance I can make a cooking utensil, or is this just for like the stripping it?
This will be for just the stripping currently. The cooking utensils will come in a moment. Because who knows, maybe there's something that doesn't quite come away so easily.
22, pretty
No.
decent.
You're used to skinning and working with mountain hare, and in this particular instance, this is familiar territory. You have these back where you grew up, and this is not necessarily a common meal, as lean meat over an extended period of time is bad for you. But as it currently stands, it's good for you in the quantities that you're likely to have it. So in this instance, you prepare it quite easily, skin it, get all the pieces ready, and I'll say go ahead and make me another cook utensils check. This one will also give advantage because of the high roll on the survival.
Excellent, excellent.
And the pelt is perfectly preserved for you, Kay.
Cooks utensils, that is
Including
a
the
+7.
ears.
I can sell them in a den of furs.
Oh, I was going to turn that into a little cape for you if you wanted.
No, I'd rather sell it.
That is a 26 altogether.
Okay. Easily enough. Alongside cat stew, you add a little bit of lean meat to it, and begin to add a few bits and pieces which give it a bit more of a generally nicer texture. You manage to get whatever granule bits are still in there out from whatever dirt may have still been on the earthworms or
Bugs.
anything that may, or any cartilage and crunchy bits from the bugs. You manage to scoop out most of the problems from there, but you manage to repair cat's soup and stew to the point that it is a wonderful meal with a little bit of added spice. The bitterness flavour disappears and is otherwise a little bit soaked into the lean meat, making it a little bit more of a sharper texture, or not sharper texture, sharper flavour. But it's still a nice meal for you, nonetheless.
Excellent. And the blood pudding?
Blood pudding will take a little bit of time to make, as it does take a little bit of time.
That is fair.
For that, so this will be something that will be a on-the-go project, most likely.
All right. I will be, making the preparation of it, and then I'll get to the boiling of it tonight.
Yep. Obviously, you otherwise wrap it up in a series of bits of fabric and cloth to otherwise preserve it through the day, to stop it from getting wet, and then you can boil it tonight. And that will be your meal for the next day. So I'll say that, Kay, you have provided food with a little bit of cat's help from the foraging as well. You two have provided food for the day. I'll say with that.
Woo.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So,
How far into our journey are we now?
you are, I believe, at the beginning of... Because you took your first day of travel getting to the campsite. You took the second day getting to the... day 1, day 2, day 3. So you were on the beginning of day 4. So you, in theory, have another 4 or 5 days to go until you get to the mountain.
Okay.
Or the site, I should say.
Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
What do you... I don't think I ever asked. How did you and Kay come to be traveling together?
I tried
Oh,
to
I was
steal from
looking-
him.
Yes, I was working as a caravan guard who tried to steal from me.
That
Some good times.
that sounds about right. Yes.
Yeah, it was all fine. I gave him a job.
I beat up a Minotaur.
The fuck you did.
I actually did though.
If they were beaten up, then they were not a good enough Minotaur. Minotaur? Why am I saying Minotaur? That's such a... Ugh.
Minotaur. What's the difference?
Minotaur is a better... Minotaur is a small.
Minotaurs are the children.
So you beat up a
Minotaurs?
child?
Ah,
That makes sense, I guess.
no, that's all right. Beating up children is fine.
What?
West Quips channel, come here.
Hey, look, nowadays I do these specifically just to...
There we go. So. Yes, because I forgot to say, everybody recovered from a full rest. Or long rest rather. So everybody regains all of your hit points, all of your spell slots accordingly. Kay and Kirv, you recover your point of exhaustion. And from there, you also will gain your 3 hit die as well. So that's all good.
I gain my 3 hit die, sorry.
Yes, because you completed a long rest, you gain 3 hit die to your hit count. Should be on your core page. So restore 3 to that, and then you can restore your hit points back to maximum.
Ooh.
Just make sure you remove any temporary hit points you currently have.
Yeah.
Okay. So, were you continuing on with your journey, everyone?
Yeah?
Indeed.
Okay. Who is going to helm the survival check? And does anybody wish to keep an eye out?
I'm more than happy to, because we are objectively in mountain now. This is my territory.
Okay, keep going. So you roll your survival check for me, please. This will just be a regular roll. The DC will be lowered, though.
Oh, regular roll.
Yep, so we take the
Ignore
left
the
one.
Left. So 18 altogether.
18 altogether, and Kay's keeping an eye out. Okay. So,
I was just gonna say what the total was. 24.
24, okay. And I believe it's Kat's turn to roll the day's travel. So, Kat, go ahead and roll me 2d12, please.
Cool.
Oh yeah,
apologise
Vinny,
for
because you missed the
spam.
beginning, we're using the new random encounter table
You know
for
what?
this.
That's not bad. That's not bad. 7
Six-
out of 9.
16. Okay, so I need to roll for that. Four. Okay. Okay. Over the course of the day, the weather proceeds to get worse. As you're traveling through the mountains, the weather slowly but surely begins to pick up to more of a harsher wind. The rain is staying light for the time being, but it's a colder biting wind than you would like. You can still see that there are more storm clouds that are kind of going to be arriving over the next few days, but you otherwise kind of continue to kind of keep an eye out and keep a watch on the skies. Despite the weather change, the wind is currently in your favour, and you travel an extra day of travel as going up and down the hills is easier with the wind at your back. So you gain 2 days. So you gain 2 days of travel, which means that you are now 2 days, or 1 or 2 days from your objective, depending on how well you roll on the next things. But with Romulus's high survival, I'll say that it's 1 day away if you roll average.
Good. Good.
So, With that, who would like to try and find a camp? Or a place to stay for the night?
Considering Romulus found the last good spot, I think he should do it again.
Okay.
Very well,
Yeah,
then I
try
shall
and help
do
out.
so. I would appreciate the assistance.
Okay. So I'll say survival or perception check of your choice.
I will be going survival. I mean, it actually doesn't make a difference for me stat-wise, but survival feels more fitting given my current location.
Yeah, that's fine. You have advantage as you have aid from Vinny. So,
So that's an 18 again already, and...
Yeah, Vinny will be.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 21.
Okay. With Vinny kind of guiding and getting a good kind of general look out, you know what to look for, Romulus. But Vinny's the one who's able to see a bit further as it is getting darker. It has been dark all day due to the weather. But as you're otherwise travelling, Vinny is able to point out a few locations and with your aid is able to spot the things which you are pointing out or what you would otherwise be looking for. With a little bit of guidance and help, you otherwise notice what looks to be a cave. You can see what looks to be kind of a few bones on the outside of it. The cave itself otherwise looks quite big for the most part. Could probably fit maybe 2 Romuluses tall through the entranceway. A few bones out the front, but it leads further in by the looks of it. Or you can keep moving and potentially try and find another spot. This will not result in a reroll, this will just result in a different potential hiding space.
Are we close to it?
Yes. Yeah. It's currently in your general trajectory.
I can go closer to it and see if it has any strong sense of something that might be living there. If we want to try for that one.
Give it a try, just in case.
Alright, I will attempt to get closer to the cave as stealthily as I feel I need to.
Okay.
And
Sorry, you go first.
I was just gonna say, and I'll be trying to sniff around the cave and see if I can pick up any strong sense of something that may have come through here recently or not.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a general stealth check, as you said you were taking it quietly. And then
Just gonna say, I'm gonna hang back a little bit from where Kay is and keep him in sight.
Okay.
With
So
my
you're
bow
still aware of
and
what's
arrow,
going on.
just in case.
Okay.
Just in case something goes wrong.
Excellent. And then go ahead and roll me a perception check. You feel confident that you haven't been noticed if there is anything present. You can't currently see anything, though, but as you otherwise begin to try and sniff the air. Nice. See, all it takes is the DM to turn around and say the dice are going to be hot this session, and all of a sudden they are. It's great. I have the power to decide your fate.
Now that you said that.
Yeah, now that
roll
I've said
should be
that,
a
it will
nat
change.
one.
If you could change your fate,
But I'm okay with
would
that.
you?
Would you change your feet? Alright.
Perception, that's a 22.
22. You otherwise approach the cave entrance. You can see that the bones around here are, for the most part, old. Not dusty by any means, as quite a few of them have gotten wet with the weather and the rain, but they aren't rolling around. They're quite heavy bones. Larger ones, too. You note that they aren't the size of, say, Romulus or the rest of the parties. They're larger. You haven't seen many large creatures in this area, but the smell, as you otherwise kind of begin to take it in and give kind of a general sniff around the air, it reminds you of almost this dusty smell, old stone. And your mind flicks back to that stone dragon encounter. But it's a different scent, but it's similar. You don't know whether this may be an old lair or it's currently occupied. You are otherwise unsure, but there's still a lingering smell.
How far into the cave can I see?
You can see that it goes in about a good maybe 10-15 feet before it begins to curve what looks to be upwards and inwards. Just gently upwards, almost following the general layout of the cave.
I would like to send 3 rats to go in and just to see if they can see anything immediately inside. Or see if they can see anything obvious inside.
Okay. Right, so I need to roll one of these. Go ahead and roll me a perception check for the rats. I believe they have a +1.
They do indeed. Alright. Come on, rats. That's a 9.
9. Okay. Your rats head in, and otherwise having a look around, there's a moment where they get to a point, and then shortly after the rats return to you, fairly hastily.
I'm not gonna try and... Actually, no, I will try and talk to them.
Okay, so this burns one of your biological resiliences to learn rat.
Yep. So, what you see?
So, you know before when we fought a stone dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be one in there. It's a bit bigger, though.
Okay.
It's currently asleep. It's currently sat on a massive, what looks to be pile of bones and crystal. I didn't notice us. So, might be best to move on. This one's occupado.
Yep. 100%. I will gather up the rats, and I will head back to the party as stealthily as I can.
Okay. Heading back past Vinny, you meet up with the rest of the party. Vinny, I'll say you're going with as well, as you were keeping an eye on Kay. As you arrive back with the rest of the party.
Let's go somewhere else. That one's occupied by a bigger stone dragon.
Okay, let's try something else then.
What's a dragon?
You don't want to see it yet.
Yes. No.
Is it bad? That makes me want to see it more.
Go ahead.
Technically, Kirv was there, but Rebecca was not. Last session, you met a cloud dragon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But, yeah, we should make a wide berth of this place. Don't want to wake it.
No, that's fair enough. I really need this goose, but I don't want to die for it.
Yeah, let's move on. Try somewhere else.
Moving on, carrying on that
I mean,
survival check.
it is asleep, right?
Yes. It's bigger than the last one.
We all nearly died last time.
The
Do you
answer
like
is
being
no.
disturbed when you sleep?
But have you considered dragon skin boots?
But have you considered it is sleeping on a pile of bones? Much bigger than ours.
Have you considered Romulus skin boots?
I'm sure they would be extremely supple.
My mind just went to the whole, like, giving a sacrifice to a dragon and Romulus is just tied to a pole in a loincloth, just going, "Oh, help me!" Waiting to swing the wooden pole at the dragon.
Yeah.
Fact is, Romulus, do you really want to endanger Cat? Or me, but mostly Cat.
Cat, no. You, I wouldn't mind it, but I wouldn't try for it, if you know what I mean.
Thanks.
You know, I value you as a person, but at the same time, I don't know you that well. I feel like we should really get to know each other better.
Eh.
Yeah, no, it's up to you.
Yeah. I think we should move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like emotionally? Or
Okay.
how can I?
Pressing on, then. As you otherwise continue looking around, it does continue to get dark, but with the aid of Vinny, you do kind of get a look around, and you note that there are a few spots which could work. Kind of a few kind of natural alcoves and divots in the natural landscape around here. None of them are going to be particularly weatherproof, so you'd have to put a little bit of extra work in to make them so. And the trees are few and far between. You would have maybe a cluster of 1 to 5 at most in kind of spread out sections of the mountainside here. So, do you wish to put in the extra effort to potentially try and find a place to rest, or do you wish to keep going and attempt for something further?
I think finding some place to rest is important. Because if we don't rest, we get exhausted and die.
It's more of a you can put in the little bit of extra effort now while there's still sunlight or while there's still general light to try and make somewhere weatherproof. Or you can keep pressing on to try and find a place where you can pitch your tents, because currently you're dealing with loose or hard stone, which is a bit more difficult to work with when it comes to tents.
I'd rather not sleep on hard stone. I know I'm from hell, but I at least have a bed.
Was it made of nails?
What kind of question's that?
You're right, of course it was made of nails.
Well, we can push on. There's just no guarantee that what we find is going to be any better than what we have here.
Yeah, maybe we should just put in the effort. Also, the darker it gets, there are creatures here that are more suited to hunting in this terrain.
Why does everything want to kill us here?
Did things not want to kill you in hell?
Most of the time they keep to themselves, as long as I keep to myself.
Um,
Apart from the imps.
I don't even have to know any imps to know that imps suck.
Yeah, I don't miss the imps.
Are they like the pigeons of hell, but like really annoying pigeons?
There's a pigeon.
It's kind of like a very small, dumb, and tragically useless goose.
Make them more annoying, and yes, that sounds about right.
It all makes sense now. It was geese the whole time.
Do you think the imps stole the No.
I don't think imps would be capable of that.
No.
I think
And there's
they
definitely
eat-
like a normal sized person. Okay.
What if it was a giant imp?
Then we are doomed.
Giant imp CR2.
A dire imp? Is that what it would be called?
Dire imp. You get the imps, which are CR1, and you get dire imps, which are CR2. They just can't fly. They just run around on stocky legs.
Are they tasty?
Who knows?
I need
So,
to make a trip to hell.
Are you
Mate,
are you
might be.
pressing on, or are you going to try and settle down and work with the terrain a bit?
That's up to them. I'm sure I could find a nice spot to hide somewhere around here.
I'd say we should probably send
Thank you,
here
bye.
and find a way to make it work. Does it look like it is going to be workable?
It's possible. I mean, a lot of these are their crevices and kind of small alcove areas. It's not got total cover against this, so your tents for the most part won't be buffeted. The main problem will be that you're working with harder stone, so unless you can find a way to weigh your tent down, shift changes are going to result in someone potentially flying away. Except for Cat and Romulus.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, we're good.
So what we do is we put one in one tent and one in the other.
Yeah.
No,
Also depends on
we're-
if you're planning to boil something, you're going to need a fire, which is also going to be a problem if you're not in a very sheltered area. There's not really that much in terms of raw shelter, it's just there's stuff that you can potentially work with if you can do something creatively.
Romulus,
Hmm.
if you toss me in the air, do you have the capabilities to catch me?
I would argue that could well be seen as an athletics check, Chris.
Yeah. And he's a small creature and you're considered large when grappling, so I'll allow it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go
if
ahead
you
and roll
toss
me
me
an
in the
athletics
air,
with advantage.
I can see if I can see something.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check with advantage, and then a perception check should Romulus succeed. Romulus?
Oh, this could be interesting.
I'm just trying to think. So which one first?
Athletics check, and then Kay will roll a perception if you succeed. You get advantage because Kay is small and you are large.
Excellent. Oh, thank God. It's like a 26.
Yeah. And Kay, go ahead and roll your perception. Okay.
That's a 16.
16. As you grab Kay and toss him straight into the air, Kay, you otherwise fly upwards, not necessarily gracefully, spinning a little bit, losing a few rats here and there, as they otherwise fly off into the wind and rain where they are carried off. Who knows where. You otherwise begin to kind of slowly fall, kind of getting your bearings. You have a look around, and you can see what looks to be nearby a downward divot, more of like a sinkhole. Could potentially work, and you couldn't notice it from the height that your party was previously at, given you had to divert the dragon's lair.
I see.
Romulus, go ahead and roll me a dexterity saving throw with advantage because you have danger sense.
Ah, yes. Finally, the true use of danger sense. Catching my dumbass party members.
Well, that was
That
very
fucking works.
yeah.
Jesus.
As Kay, you come back down, you are caught again like a baby who's been tossed into the air, and Romulus lowers you to the ground. He also stretches out his
really-
hand and catches a few of the stray rats.
Really dangerous, baby.
Yes.
I found a spot that could work better than this.
Well, if you think it's worth giving it a go, I'm not opposed. Anything that stops us from, dying.
I will take them to the spot that I saw.
Okay. Heading to the spot that you saw, you otherwise travel across a few bits of kind of stone, heading further down, just a little ways onto one of the flat areas before Kay kind of shows you what looks to be this rather large sinkhole that leads down and inwards. You can see that some of the water is currently running, kind of just run off into this sinkhole, and it's currently falling into what looks to be a lake or something below.
Could this work?
Do I think that this looks like a reasonable place?
Roll me a perception or survival check. I'll say Kay, go ahead and do the same.
Okay.
And let me know which one you are rolling.
I was rolling survival. I got a natural 1.
Okay.
I was going with perception because I am perceiving.
So, Romulus, you've never slept in a sinkhole before, but no, what could possibly go wrong? It's not that bad, right? Yeah, there's a water below, but surely there must be land down there. Seems safe enough.
I think it's a good idea as long as no one minds getting a little wet.
I got a 13.
13. Looking in, you can see where the water itself is relatively high. It's not filling this sinkhole by any means, but you can see a section around from this particular angle. You can see that a section of it seems to be smoothed out on the opposite side of the sinkhole. And as you slowly begin to rotate, you note, as you otherwise kind of look around, at what looks to be a light somewhere below you in the sinkhole.
A light.
Yes.
I see a light down here.
A light? Okay. Would you like me to go have a look? Well, by me, Jeff.
You can try.
Okay, I will send Jeff to go have a closer look at this light, and I'll look through his eyes. But I am going to be constantly holding my actions. If anything looks out of place, I'm snapping Jeff back to me.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check then, please.
Come on, Jeff. Do your Jeff things. Well, it's 13.
13. As you otherwise look through the eyes of Jeff, as Jeff flies down a little ways, kind of slowly hovering into the sinkhole and kind of does a general passing turn, you can see where what looks to be a very clear light source on the interior. You can see that where the sinkhole otherwise is a large, what looks to be relatively large lake under here, with what looks to be the opposite side, which Kay had noticed a kind of a slight carving out of the area where it's a little bit smooth. But you notice that below where you're currently standing, what looks to be a much larger carved out area with a section of tunnel that leads further down and a small off-run stream of water that runs down deeper, like a natural runoff down and further inwards. You note that sat on either side of this river what look to be 3 relatively large individuals. And they're currently just sat there as one of them kind of looks up and points at Jeff. And do you pull Jeff back?
Yep.
Okay, you pull Jeff back. The large
So
individuals look humanoid and they're quite, not necessarily bulbous, but stocky.
So there's 3 large individuals down there. They saw Jeff, but they didn't attack straight away. Doesn't mean they're gonna be friendly. But if we go down there, we're not on our own.
About how far away were they from the entrance?
About, from the entrance to the sinkhole, about 10 feet or so.
Okay. Romulus. Going to tie this rope to me. I'm going to go down there, since it'll be easier to get me out fast, and see if they are friendly and if we can stay here.
All right.
If I tug on this rope twice, you'll pull.
I believe I can do this.
You hear from below,
Hello, is there somebody up there?
not quite like that.
French.
Hello, is there anybody up there?
I peek my head down.
You see
Yes.
what looks to be an individual with kind of these large tusks to them, kind of grey skin, kind of a thick plait of hair that runs down, just a central plait shaved on either side, otherwise, as they look up, holding what looks to be an axe to their sides, just carved of what looks to be kind of this beautiful bone axe, kind of looks up.
Yes. We're just trying to find somewhere to camp out for the night.
Yeah, feel free to camp down here with us. That alright with you two? You otherwise look back and you can see what looks to be a kind of a younger individual, kind of the same kind of greyish skin, a little bit of blue texture or colouring mixed in. They're wearing what looks to be complete furs, and what looks to be a of these particular individuals, what looks to be a female kind of sat at the back with what looks to be kind of this just general parcel that she's cradling currently.
I would like to insight him to see if I can judge if how he feels about it.
Yeah, go for it. Give me an insight check.
Oh man, so close. That's a 10.
10. Not exactly the easiest people to read. These are strangers who you've just met and are currently living in a sinkhole. But for the most part, they don't seem to be causing any problems or anything. They seem like genuinely friendly folk.
Does it look like he's putting his axe away?
He seems to have it out more as just a general defense against you, but currently he only knows that you're there.
I said we.
You did say we. He wouldn't have picked up on that. He didn't. Well, let's see.
Never
Never mind, he got 19 on his insight. So yeah, he noted the we. So I'd say he's probably still holding the axe, but not necessarily in a threatening manner.
Just to say ahead of time, there are 5 of us.
That should be all right. Yeah, we got plenty of room. Shelter.
As long as none of you
fire.
are massive abominations against nature.
Like those filthy Minotaurs up north.
Oh,
Nah,
dirty
nice folk
Minotaurs.
like you wouldn't be travelling with him.
I'll pop my head back up and say that they're friendly and we can stay down there. And after I say that, I will drop myself down in.
Okay. As you drop down, I would like you to make me an acrobatics check. Otherwise, you're going to be going into the water.
We're so ready for you to say, I would like you to make me an initiative roll.
Can I make a argument to be able to get advantage with my nimble footwork?
With the use of your nimble footwork, I will allow it. Okay. With your otherwise nimble footwork, otherwise sliding off the edge and using the rope to aid, you otherwise swing yourself down and land on the kind of the hard, dry section of the cave below, and you can now more thoroughly see, now that you've got like proper light and you can see around here, what look to be cave drawings across the large portion of this, drawn in what looks to be various dyes and paints, fats and charcoal. You otherwise note the kind of extensive work here of what looks to be almost many generations. The individual who otherwise looks back at you, otherwise kind of putting the axe away, and looks back up towards the entrance. Are all your friends going to be coming down that way?
Is there an easier way?
Not particularly, no.
I guess we don't really have a choice.
No, we usually just use the handholds over there to get back up and get up and down into the sinkhole. And points to what looks to be a series of small handholds where they're kind of small hooks and loops, enough to fit maybe 2 or 3 fingers at most for most of your party, maybe 2 for Romulus.
Okay, can we take a minute to appreciate that Romulus is going to have a tough time getting out of here?
Yeah.
So are you.
No.
Oh.
So I'm going to go into the hole, and as I'm heading towards the hole, I'm casting spider form.
Okay. Immediately, kind of a series of large crystalline legs with kind of this crackling energy and almost kind of this dark matter between it begin to kind of sprout out and hoist you slightly off the ground as you spin to an immediate 180 view and begin to walk along. To which...
I will say that as soon as I see these crystal legs, I will give him a heads up that it's just one of our party members using magic to get down here.
Okay. There's an immediate moment of like stepping back and kind of very much drawing his axe. The other one further back otherwise stands and draws their axe in kind of preparation. As Cat, you begin to make your way in, you begin to hear the sound of crying.
Crying?
And gentle shushing as the parcel that the woman is carrying is in fact a baby.
Aww.
And as you otherwise enter, there is a general notion of the general nature of the hostility of the action and very much being caught off guard by it has woken the baby.
It's okay. I don't mean to harm. My form's not very good at scaling.
I can imagine that. And you can see the woman's otherwise kind of bouncing the baby and just trying to shush it back to sleep.
I will lower myself down.
Okay. How are the rest of you getting in?
I'll probably go for spider form too.
Okay. So you cast spider form, and these large kind of wicker scarecrow legs just kind of pop out of you, and you begin to otherwise climb over the edge. To which there's a general note of less surprise, but equal horrifying nature to it from the other individuals here.
Kay just slaps his forehead and just goes and sits in a corner. Like, how do I deal with these people?
Vinny and Romulus?
Yes, we should climb down. How difficult is it that the climb is going to be?
Currently, Kay, would you have informed them that there is a series of handholds?
Yes, I would have
Okay.
informed them before somebody used their spider form.
Vinny, I'd
Oh.
like you to go ahead of me, because if I go down, I want to take someone with me.
So,
No, I'm kidding. It's so that if I do fall, I've got someone who might be able to help me out.
Vinny, from the general nature of the handholds, this is not an easy climb. It doesn't look like there's necessarily the aid of any particular manner. There's no rope, there's no pitons in place, there's no climbing kit that is currently in place. If you have one, you could set one up, but currently there isn't one. You note that the handholds are quite small and quite slick. They have been cut, not necessarily recently, they're a little bit worn from use of time, but they are still quite small. For your hands, you'll be able to get a decent grip and climb down. You'll be making an athletics check with advantage. For Romulus, whose size is larger, your hands and your hooves are not going to have a good time with this. So you'll be rolling with disadvantage, Romulus.
So what you're telling me is that this jumping puzzle is racist.
Yes.
Excellent.
Good callback to our first quote. What was that, sorry?
What was that saying?
I do have a rope and some pitons, if we would like to set something up.
That would probably be quite smart, yes. Let's do that.
I can assist.
Oh, you know what? I've also got a grappling hook. I can think of so many circumstances where that would have been useful. Alright,
Oh well.
Oh well. So you wish to set up a climbing kit then? Or the effectiveness of a climbing kit?
Yeah, seems worth spending the time to do that rather than
me falling to my death, yes.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I'll say with that, there is little worry of any accidents happening. I'm going to say go ahead and roll me an athletics check, please, Romulus, just to see how things go. Who knows? You might go down and get rope burn. Or maybe
I
you
suppose
get...
I can roll with advantage because the rope counts as a small creature.
No, the rope will prevent you from having any catastrophic problems like falling in the water, which by the looks of it will be icy cold and will possibly impose penalties for sleeping.
Oh, I'm
natural
fucking
20.
great.
Easily. This reminds you of the time at the jungle gym as a kid, as you always swing down onto the stone quite happily. You are very adept at this, and climbing through mountains is kind of your forte. So despite the possible challenge this may have imposed, you feel fine. And Vinny, you otherwise make your way down quite easily with the aid of the rope and the foot and hand holds. The individual otherwise kind of puts their axe away, noting the presence of all of you. There is a bit more tenseness around Romulus. You're not entirely certain why. But
Can I get an understanding why?
go ahead and roll me
Since
insight.
May I also, as the person in question?
Yeah, go for it.
16.
I'll allow it. 16.
Right.
Okay. And
No, it's nothing. I got nothing.
yeah.
They're Minotaur racists.
No, I'd say you're not entirely sure. I'd say you don't even pick up on them being maybe slightly more wary of Romulus. From your point of view here, Cage, you otherwise look at them and you look at Romulus. Romulus is bigger than them. And given the nature of these individuals, they don't typically, from what you can gather, they don't typically see people who are bigger than them. They are quite large and stocky individuals. And I'll say any of you who are more adverse of this, so I'll say Romulus, you know, well, you wouldn't have ever encountered these before, nor would have Cat, but you're a bit more learned in this. I'd say Vinny, you're probably the only one who might know about these individuals, as they are not all that common. There are a few which are of a deeper blue coloration that you know of, as well as a kind of a starker white coloration, and these are Orcish folk.
Huh.
Yeah, they're a lot rarer over here compared to other sections of the world, but they typically don't come this far north. Granted that the south is tundra territory, that's where they tend to live, other than the pirate orcs that exist outside in the oceans.
Okay,
Pirate orcs or porks.
No, you can't have porks because that's already taken.
I don't know what you're talking to. I'm...
You know full well what I'm referring to.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Would
We
I
should
have,
we should stop, otherwise we will be violating.
Yeah, we will.
Copyright.
Yep.
would I have picked up on them being on edge around Romulus, and would I know why? Or have any idea why?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say the only thing you pick up on the same thing that Kay does. They seem to be more wary of Romulus because he is larger than them. Orcs tend to be quite large, and they tend to be the largest in a room most of the time.
God, how big are they?
These orcs stand at about 6 to 7 feet tall.
Crikey.
Kind of stocky, broad shoulders, kind of large tusks that otherwise protrude from the mouth. You can see that they seem to have the same kind of general hair to them. The younger one, who seems to be the younger orc, who's otherwise back by the mother orc, currently has what looks to be a man bun on top of his head instead of a plait, with like the older fellow. But they otherwise are a bit wary, but they do have what looks to be a comfortable fire. I'm just going to roll to see if she can. Yeah, the baby goes quiet after a little while as it is beginning to get back to sleep.
Kay looks to the first one and says, thank you for the hospitality.
That's quite alright. Not often we see venturers through the mountains. Good to have some others come by.
I will go up to
Still.
him and hold out my hand. I'm Cat, by the way.
Kind of pauses for a moment. Takes it and shakes your hand. Forgive the hostility in this, but we do not share names. Ours were taken quite some years ago.
Oh, my apologies. Do you prefer us to not share ours, or?
You may share yours, but you would do well not to speak your name so readily to unbeknown strangers in the wild.
Understood. Well, you may refer to me as Romulus, if you wish.
Otherwise nods.
Is that the sort of name taking we're talking about here?
What name taking?
The fable shit. The may I take your name thing, and then they literally do it.
Not quite. I'd say Romulus doesn't necessarily have the experience and understanding of what they might be referring to, but
I'm going to assume it's connected to why they're living so far from home.
it's a possible connection. But you're not sure.
Out of curiosity, from the way he said it, would Kay have picked up a sort of familiarity with how he felt about it? About their names being taken from them?
I'll say go ahead and roll me a general insight check for this.
$14.
14. It's hard to tell, but from what you can generally understand, you weren't necessarily given a name, or if you had a name beforehand, you don't know what it is. They, on the other hand, seem to have it be that their names were taken, whatever that means. Not quite the same as your circumstance.
I'm still gonna bring it up. And technically, in Kay's understanding of what's going on with him, he feels that his name was taken from him as well.
Okay.
I somewhat understand my name was taken from me as well.
The older one who otherwise welcomed you in kind of just gives you a general nod. And you've suffered the same fate.
Maybe a little different. The name I know now is... Give me 1 sec just to make sure exactly what it was. The name I know now is K34.
York looks at you quizzically for a moment, generally just taking it in, before kind of nodding for a moment, looking around the rest of your troop. What are the rest of you doing at this point?
I am going to be bringing out some of my tasty treats that give temp hit points and handing them out to these people. I have 3. So do with that as you will.
Okay. You otherwise begin to kind of hand out food. What are the tasty treats made of today?
Today, I think I would probably made them out of... I'm just double checking what I got. Okay, so I got a little bit of honey left. Now, you know what? This would be some dried apple with a tiny little drizzle of honey and some cinnamon.
Okay.
Just little.
Yeah.
It's not much, but well, as thanks.
The older one kind of takes one and just kind of gives a general bite and goes, "These are good. Thank you."
No worries.
You going over to the other two, close to the fire. The the two who are in the back they're a bit more wary of you. The older one seems to be a bit more accepting of what's happening, that you are strangers who are in need of shelter. But the ones at the back seem to still be a bit wary, and as you otherwise do approach the younger man, otherwise kind of stands, kind of brandishing his, not necessarily brandishing his axe, but kind of almost in a show of a threat, or in a defensive manner. As in, don't try anything funny.
I'm just gonna hold one hand up as a show of like, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything unpleasant, and just hand over the little treat.
You hand over the treat. The woman otherwise takes hers and kind of eats it relatively quickly. I'll say with your natural survival, you note that these individuals are not malnourished, but they're on the verge of.
Well, I can certainly try and help fix that. I'm going to immediately get down to cooking.
Okay. So while you're cooking, is there anything anybody else would like to do? Cat, Kirv, or Vinny?
I think Kirv would like to observe the cooking. Because it's such an alien sort of thing. And who knows, she thinks she might, in case in the future she ever needs to do it herself. So she'd like to observe.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at the cave paintings and... How long have you lot been down here?
Who are you aiming this question towards?
Probably the one that's done the most talking at the moment.
So the older one, okay.
Yeah.
We've been here for probably a good... probably say 2 moons.
Oof.
So, about 2 months or so.
It's a very long time.
We've been traveling for the very least 3 to 5 longer moons.
The big moon.
So almost 3 to 5 years.
So how comes you decided to settle here?
We're in between homes. This place is more of a safety spot for now.
I can understand. I see. What do the cave paintings sort of represent? Like, if I was to have a look at them, can I understand them?
Looking around, there is some script in what looks to be kind of a mixture of 2 languages. I need to actually quickly double check what language Orcish is written in, script-wise.
I believe it's technically giant, actually.
Yeah, because if it is, then that would make sense, because it is a mixture in this particular instance. So let's go to page 123, everyone's favourite page for languages. Okay. Orcish is technically Dwarvish.
Oh, Dwarvish.
But Giant,
That is
in its script, is also technically Dwarvish.
Huh.
So Giant runes and Orc runes would have a similarity to them. So looking around, you can make out what looks to be... Generally, the pictures detail that of clans, groups, friends and family. You can note that they have been kind of drawn well, for the most part. But you note that there is almost an attempting of writing in Orcish or Giant-like language, that the names are incoherent. Not because you don't understand the language, but because they are not present. And as the names have attempted to have been written, they don't seem to have come out as it's intended to. You note that there are creatures depicted as well, what look to be large kind of yaks or bulls with massive horns. You can see what looks to be wolves that are depicted as well, kind of friendly ones that sit around what looks to be small birds of some form, ravens quite possibly. And you see what looks to be two individuals wearing what looks to be kind of long feathered cloaks. You recognize these, Cat? Do you remember these?
There's a. Are these the ones that tell prophecy?
Mm-hmm. They are
Okay.
indeed.
Okay. I can't remember what they're actually called though. I know, and I can tell you exactly where I met them. Cannot tell you what they are called.
They are called the Crows.
Of course. Right. Yeah.
The crows.
So, how many of you set out from wherever it is you're from?
Just us three. We came from down south. We were once a tribe of about 200, 300 plus. We did what our ancestors had always taught to do, and we travelled. We hunted and we survived. We were travelling across the southern woods down there, and we came across an individual, a strange one. Her magic was old, strange. She wore the garments of the crows, and she took our names.
Oh.
Not all of ours. There were about 10 of us who lost our names after we... Being who we are, we didn't leave when we were asked to. We were curious, and she was more powerful than we'd intended.
I don't suppose I could describe that blood lady that Graham was having such issues with, and say just. I don't suppose it was someone who's sounds something like this.
Not from what we would recognize. The crows are very distinctive, wearing outfits of long crow-like garments, a hood of bone.
I've only ever seen them once.
Usually they're a force of prophecy and truth. She was a malice.
Understood.
Where were they from?
The south.
The south or the south?
The south.
Oh.
The deep south.
The deep south, where it gets cold. No, the south is the most that you get from that. Is what they've told. I will say if you wish to go up and inquire further, you can, but they've just mentioned the south.
South of this plain?
I suppose just south.
Okay.
So
Somewhere you could get to by walking.
Yes. Yeah, we have walked here for many a while.
that can't be easy with a babe.
The babe's new. That's why we're still here. She's no more than a week old. That's why we haven't left yet. Hunting's difficult, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, hmm. How familiar are you with blood pudding?
We're aware of it. We don't have it often. It's not the nicest of things, although it carries nutrients.
I have some ready to make. Would you like some?
Feed them first, if you please.
Of course. Yeah, I'm gonna get to cooking.
Okay.
People have said they are hungry. This is my whole shtick.
Okay. So, do you know where you're planning on heading?
From here, we're hoping to head north. We're planning to travel around the mountains and eventually reach the edge of the Grave Wallow Gorge, from what we were told it's called. From there, the climate should get warmer, and we're hoping to seek aid from one of the elven families or those in Maruk if we can cross the ravine.
Okay. So do you have a map that
No.
you're working off of? Or you just
No, I follow the stars as best I can. But it's not always easy in the current circumstance.
can understand. Hey, we have a map if you'd like to have a look at it so you could get an understanding of what's around.
That would be appreciated, but I don't think we'd be able to understand where we are regardless.
Fair. Okay, from what I can understand, what I am going to do is I'm going to use some of my paper and I'm going to let him look over the map. And while he's looking over it, I'm going to try and replicate the map.
Okay.
Not with crazy detail, but at least it
Generally.
gives them something they can take and, you know, if they get lost, get some bearings possibly from.
Yeah. I'll say this will use up, I'll say, a sheet of paper in this instance, so don't worry about the cost, it'll be negligible. So using just some general paper and ink.
Yep, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, no, that's cool. So, yeah, I'll try and do that the best I can. I will take my time with it.
Okay.
While he's looking that over.
I'll say go ahead and make me either a survival or an investigation check of your choice. Or if you're proficient in cartographer's tools, make it with advantage.
Was it survival or a what?
Or investigation.
Okay, it'll be investigation, because that's a +7, and it's calligrapher's tools, or calligrapher's thing
It will
I've
be
got.
cartographers you need. So yeah, in this
so
it's just a regular roll.
Regular roll, +7.
Okay.
21.
Yeah, having done this sort of thing before with making maps, kind of just general sketches, it's easy enough to do, and you otherwise hand over the map to them. Quite possibly could
Nothing
help them go
fancy,
forward.
But if you do get lost or find a location, you can get your bearings from this.
Thank you. It is greatly appreciated that you're aiding us in this scenario.
It's no problem. Oh, one more bit of information. Or a couple of bits of information from what we found from our journey. And I'll give them a rough idea of where we saw the elementals fighting and the location of that dragon.
Okay. We are aware of the dragon.
Okay.
It came by here a few nights ago. It's not harmful, provided you have something for trade. But it's not exactly a nice one.
No.
It said it would leave us alone until we move on, given the youngster.
Well, it's nice to sound that he can be reasoned with, at least. Okay, but yeah, there's also elementals in the area, so just...
We've encountered a
can't give
few
you
of
any more.
them on our journey. Can't say we've fought them, we've run from them as best we could.
That's fair. Okay, but yeah, that's all the insight I can give you in regards to what we've seen. We've not been out here for very long ourselves, so
Don't forget about the meadow trolls.
oh, well, they're going north. We were
Yeah,
down
meadow trolls
south.
would be to your southeast from here, so
Yeah,
Kay wouldn't know, so he's just putting it out
okay.
there.
that's
Yeah, to the south of us there were the meadow trolls, but if you're going north, you shouldn't really come across them.
Thank you.
It's okay. It's okay.
I will say, Kay, looking at the, from what you said, kind of having a look at the baby, it is young, very young, kind of a pale, kind of grey, whitish skin to it. You can see will look to be kind of these very tiny, kind of spiked teeth and kind of enhanced canines where tusks will presumably grow eventually. You can see that the hair is very thin. This is your first time really seeing a baby, and
That's why he's looking so curiously at it.
yeah. The others don't seem to mind as you are keeping your distance. You aren't like poking and getting all up in their face, so they're okay with it. But there is still a general air of wariness to that. With the rest of you, was there anything anybody else wanted to do?
No.
No, I'd say we should probably bunk down and head off early.
Yeah. Bogging down for the night, after providing the food, as you do, Romulus, to the rest of them. The food is a bit more shared, so I will say that one person has to use up a ration.
I will
for
use
this.
up one of mine.
Okay. So you use up one of yours. They and the party are fed. As it currently stands, they thank you very much for the food. Your night's watch is otherwise in aid of having these individuals, so who would like to take the first watch?
I suppose I can.
Okay. So you stay up with the older gentleman. Is there any conversation you wish to have with them?
We got one clap that time. All right, the timer starts.
Yes. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Go for it.
This might be a little off-putting, but I was curious if you have met other creatures like me before, and
I can't think of another sport, but this is what it looks like when you're playing it. You kind of need faith to do it well, and that's what they don't.
Just because Kay's trying to understand how people feel about him or his race.
Yeah.
He is going to be taking off his mask.
There's kind of a look of general recognition for this. Huh. So you're from down south too?
I don't know. I don't know if you would have heard of them, but I was held captive by chainers.
Can't say I've heard of them before. But you're a snow rat.
Snow rat?
Quite a fur. Morben, the more common term for you folk, but snow rats reside down in the south. They work as the underservants to the Ice King.
Hmm. I didn't know. I only know that I was a science experiment.
Hmm.
I can do things that most people can't. I can show you, but
In fact, check this out.
I don't mean any harm with anything I show.
Understood.
And I sharpen my claws with metal.
Okay. You sharpen your claws, them kind of showing up as kind of this lighter, kind of generally light bluish coloration, slightly transparentness to them. Odd, but I'm sure useful. Can't say I've interacted too much with your kind down south, I will say. Our tribe didn't interact with the Ice King all too much.
How hard do people lose?
I was mostly curious on how individuals feel about what I am. I was told I need to hide myself, but I don't understand exactly how people feel.
Down south, you go anywhere, you're going to be suspected as being a spy for the Ice King. I'll say that much. You don't give off that vibe given what you've been wearing, but that's what it feels. That's what most people will feel like. If you're planning on heading anywhere else, I can't say for certain how they'll feel.
I'm going to
If
get McDonald's for dinner.
my
However, the game doesn't end. Whenever I
hair
get ideas,
wasn't
walk into the circle,
white,
and I want you to say
would
like,
I still be suspected?
there is a pipe under there that
If you were no longer white, did you say?
Yeah.
If you were no longer
Okay,
white,
we're
you
getting
would
into some
be...
interesting territory here.
You wouldn't be the typical, that much I'll say. You might be seen as an outcast or discarded from the snow rats.
I
I'm
see.
gonna run up and act like I have no idea who this guy is.
Well, thank you for helping me. I'm
So, for
still
dinner,
trying
everybody,
to
make chicken.
learn about things.
That's the good news. The bad news
Of course.
Honestly,
it came out of the prize money, but now the prize money is
honestly, I don't
$3.26.
even know
So
what
you guys
your
can
people are even called.
just don't forget.
I've
This is
never
what I'm
seen
for. Jen is the only one that ate
people like
chicken.
you
The next
before.
challenge that I'm going to cut the circle and
We are orcish folk. Orcs. We are particularly southern orcs in the way we look.
And
while I was cutting the circle and making it
do
smaller, Susie actually got a text message inviting her
of
to the movie.
like
So
most other peoples, do you look different depending on where you're from?
To a certain extent. The grey skin and whiter skin is from being further south. Depending on where you come from, if you're from one of the deserts in the... I believe it's northeast of here. If you're in one of the deserts, there are a few orcish folk who live up there with darker brown and orange skin. And there are tales of green orcs and others that live out there, but I can't say I know too much more. There are also black orcs. They live deep underground.
Minos and the half
I
of the
see.
legendaries, so we're not necessarily going to get any more money for it.
Well,
That's going to be a problem.
thank you
Also,
for
because a legendary prisoner
helping me
are
understand.
extremely deadly, extremely
You're welcome.
useful, quick.
And I'm curious, where exactly is it that you lot are headed this far into the mountains?
After that as well, with all of the protection possibilities. Anyway,
There's
we're going to do
a
one extra thing. We're also going to turn on
giant
ticking, so all
fortress.
records are revealed. Prisoners getting off the bus will
There's a
all
few
be
around here.
not so much
We're not
like
sure
normal, because
exactly
normal
which
are gonna be
one, but
legendary, which means 90%
there
of the traits
it
will be
was
pretty much
abandoned.
guessed. However, we are going to run with super guards.
And
Your guards are the cream.
we're on a job to
They're bigger, stronger, faster, and more observant.
investigate
So basically,
the area
they're
and
not
see if we can find out why it was
legendary
abandoned.
prisoners, and we certainly won't have a one-to-one ratio, but it means that we don't have
Well,
to
good
have
luck to that. Hopefully it helps you on your way.
want to do that anyway. But we're going to pick
And
that
I wish
okay, let's go ahead
you luck on
so we're going to go over here.
finding a place to settle down.
Thank you.
Lane believes in technology
Okay.
and
Also,
60% slow suppression rate. Instigators do not increase the chance of
that
Lane
is
causing
a
trouble, and
baby,
reducing
right?
misbehavior frequency of the extremely
Yes.
by 50%. So yeah, that's the real.
Okay. I've never seen one before.
And we need to pick our guard dog. What doggo would be best?
Yes, that is indeed a baby.
When in doubt, always go Monarch.
I see.
Monarch's always a good one. However, I think we're going to
Okay.
go with Wartime Bandit.
Who's taking second watch?
I will, I guess.
Okay. Will you be taking it with anybody else?
I'm down.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Romulus and Vinny. So,
A horny
you...
duo.
Yep, indeed. As the two of you are otherwise keeping watch, is there anything you wish to do?
I think we're just going to converse. How are you doing, Vinny?
Okay, I was worried about this journey after we set off, but it seems to be going okay so far.
Yes, we've not died yet, which I always see as a positive. Well, I say always, often.
Actually, Romulus, I thought of something. You asked a bit ago about how me and Kay wound up together, but how did you wind up the guardian of a centaur?
Well, you know how it is. You're in strange, weird, ruinous places, and, well, there's a child there, and the child seems to constantly get themselves into danger, usually by dealing with rats. And eventually, well, you just have to either A, leave them to die, or B, make sure they don't kill themselves. And, well, I chose one option of those. Arguably the nicer one.
So just complete happenstance then.
Well, perhaps. Fate is a strange thing. I found someone in need of help. I was able to provide that help. Maybe it was luck. Maybe it was just a matter of both of us needing someone. No, you're right. It was probably luck.
Then again, I guess fate's not a bad word for that.
I suppose it's not too dissimilar from how we ran into you all. Right place, right time. Or, in our case, wrong place, wrong time, quarantine.
All true. Oh, speaking of, I was thinking of writing a song on how we all met. Do you have any requests?
That depends. What kind of song? What are you planning to play it on?
The lute primarily. Maybe I'll arrange it for a group if I ever meet anyone that plays.
Is this going to have a serious vibe or a comedy vibe? I've decided that Vinny saying, sorry, not Vinny, Romulus saying vibe is the weirdest thing. But yes, what sort of style of music were you thinking of here?
Serious-ish, I imagine. More sort of epic than dark and miserable. We might embellish some of the details.
Would you be willing to make Damian into a comedic character?
Well, he's not around to object.
And you could probably make an argument for some sort of it's only just that he provides the comedic relief to help as many people as possible, or something like that. I don't actually care. Just as long as you make him the butt of a few jokes, I'm doing good.
Got it.
Can't wait to see his stupid face. Other than that, just maybe don't publicize my name. At least not until things go. No, at least not until I'm done with why I'm traveling.
Reasonable. I'll have to double check if others are going to have a problem with that. I assume Kay won't.
Probably not. I reckon Kay would love to find someone who knows them.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Tell me, are you at all curious about my past and my reasons for this?
Well, you mentioned you have a conflict with... Is it with family?
Arguably, yes.
I don't want to pry too much into private details, but I would be interested.
Well, I'll make it brief. I come from I was not raised by my birth parents, but they are... But I grew up knowing of them. They wield not inconsiderable power, politically and literally. How to put this? When I finally gained the opportunity to interact with them, it shortly became clear that, well, where there is a family, there must arguably be a successor to certain things. It seems that Well, let us say my father has a sense of humor. So, now all of us must compete in a contest of sorts. And in order for me to not lose out, I need to get very strong very quickly. That's why I'm heading south, to avoid family until I'm prepared and to hopefully find some sort of advantage. Does any of this make sense to you, Vinny?
I think so, yeah. How high are the stakes of this competition? I'm guessing pretty high if it's motivating you to do all this.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
if I was to say regional, national, or international level, where would you place it?
Independent national, I would say. Because as much of it is national politics, it's not to the point that everybody knows about it. This is a very exclusive national politics, effectively.
Tentatively, I would say it is nationally staked, though independently nationally staked. As in, it would have effect on things that are considerable, let us say.
Okay, I think I understand. Right, well, now that I know what it is you're working on, is there anything I can do to help? Are we able to help with the competition directly, or is this something you have to do on your own?
I don't believe it has to be entirely on my own. Gathering not necessarily subordinates, but allies is yet another part of it. That is correct, right, Chris?
Correct. You, in a particular instance, you are allowed to have people to participate in your stead. These people must, however, have a direct association to you, and whatever happens to them as a result of the competition is their choice. They must choose to do so willingly.
I can have willing champions, those that would act in my stead where I am unable to. I see all of you as people I would like to have at my back.
I'd be happy to.
Now, obviously, assuming things go well, I do not consider myself someone who is unfair to those who help them. And of course, if all goes poorly, then, well, I guess I might die. In which case, you're off the hook. But any help you offer would have to be willing and with great forethought. This is not going to be a kind competition, I don't think. whilst certainly it could be, I do not consider my siblings to be, for the most part, kind individuals. Some seem pleasant, but they are all perhaps more skilled and almost definitely more aware of the situation than I was. They had more time to prepare. I won't lie to you, I definitely feel as though I am coming in on the back foot.
Right, well, we'll have to do something about that, won't we?
I'm particularly excited for what happens if Cat uses the death laser on them.
Cool.
I'm not kidding, that would be fucking great.
It depends on which one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, against Angry Boy, that would be funny.
We'd have to see your definition of funny if that were to happen, but yeah. Anyway. I would like both of you to roll me a perception check, and I would like, as the encounter has the chance of happening on this one, I would like one of you two to roll me 2d12 as well. I'll say, Vinny, if you want to roll 2d12 for me, just because...
Yep.
Obviously, the others on that. And Romulus, if you want to roll a perception check, go ahead and do so.
Perception? Perception, you say?
Yes, please. And 14! Okay.
Oh, come on! Go back! Go back! Oh, yes.
Okay.
22.
Okay. With the passive perception and...
11 on my perception.
Okay, 11 on perception. With that, you, as you otherwise kind of sat there, kind of having this gentle conversation, you hear what sounds to be kind of like this general scuffle from what it sounds like. You hear kind of this doesn't wake you, any of the rest of you, but this is something that you two note, and the older orcish individual who just recently gone to sleep kind of sits up and wanders over to listen in as you two hear what sounds to be a scuffle between creatures. Kind of this roar and shout before what sounds to be almost like this heavy hitting of metal on something else, as there is just a heavy ringing sound that rings out through the cavern as the impact is taken against this. There's a roar in the moment and just a general shout between two creatures, from what it sounds like. Before there's kind of a scuffle above and a little bit of the dust begins to fall from the from effectively the overhang which you're currently under. As this happens, there's kind of this tense moment of holding yourselves still and holding your breath as the fighting shifts and moves on elsewhere.
Could we get any sense of how big these creatures would have been?
Not from what you could tell, no. From the fact that there was metal involved, the general nature of the overhang shaking suggests that they were large or larger creatures.
Right. Let's just be grateful we didn't meet them up close. Oh, when you said they moved on, can we tell what direction that was in?
They split off and head in what sounded like different directions. There was the scuffle, and then one of them kind of bounded away, and the other one wandered off. From what you can tell, one of them headed... I'll say from your general bearing with the aid of the map that you otherwise had, you can tell one probably headed somewhere in a northern direction, and another one headed in a western direction.
Okay. Okay. Just hope that we don't encounter them again.
Okay. Your rest or your watch otherwise goes by, and who would like to take the last watch?
I can? Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay. Is it just Cat, or is there anybody else watching?
I'll join.
Okay. Two of you go on watch. Is there anything you'd like to do?
So, you know I keep pulling pranks on you, right?
Yes.
I don't mean it in a mean way. Just wanted to clear this up.
Kirv kind of smiles to herself and say, don't worry about it. Probably deserve it for all the pranks I played on my siblings.
You had siblings? How many siblings did you have?
She puts up her hand and just holds 5 fingers up. At least that many. I think. Counting wasn't always my best suit.
Oh, I don't have any siblings, but that's a lot of siblings. Were you close to them?
As close as tieflings get to other tieflings. But
I don't understand what that means.
we grew up together. Not all of them were sad to see me go. Most of them thought it was funny. But, if one of my siblings messed up so much that they got sent to the material plane to go find a goose, I'd probably laugh too.
So you knew you were coming here and it was punishment for messing up? Because you lost the goose?
Well, I was on duty looking after the geese when one was stolen by someone with magic. I did everything I could, but the Lord, Kirv pauses to see if she feels any sort of negative feelings about saying that.
No.
Lord decided it was my fault since I was on lookout, and because it was his geese, you know. So he sent me to go find a goose, and I can't go home till I have it.
Well, we'll help you find it. But did he have many geese, or is this one like a special goose?
Well, since, you know, food is not a big thing at home, these geese were special because they could lay very expensive eggs that apparently taste good. So the loss of one is apparently a big deal.
I guess if it's a valuable commodity, then yeah, it would hurt you.
Well, you know what else is a valuable commodity?
Family.
Me? No, me.
You?
Yeah, and they just
Just
sneak
you.
me away. Yeah, I'm great at my job. What can I say? Is it something I want to do forever? I don't know, but I don't know if my destiny is here.
Well,
And every day it's seeming less and less possible to find this goose.
yeah, but don't ever give up hope. Like, the world has a funny way of being. Like, one day you wake up, everything's fine, you see everyone, everything's all good, have your breakfast like a normal day, and the next day, boom. Nothing is the same. It's just gone. So, we could just be ambling around one day and find a lead for your goose. You should never give up hope.
You're very
Sometimes-
wise for a child.
Yeah. Yeah. No amount of learning fixes mistakes, though. But I learned a lot. My family were smart.
Don't forget to be a kid sometimes, yeah?
Oh, I don't. I like to play with doors and the lock stay. I like to wind my friends up. I'm not gonna stop. I will carry on, but I just wanted to let you know. There's nothing mean about it.
No hard feelings.
And I think you should do the same. We could have so much fun. Especially Romulus. He doesn't know much about magic, which makes it that much more funny because he tries so desperately to understand.
I try and hold back like a dog.
Your himbo dad tries so hard to help you because he loves you, and this is how you repay him? Add another count to the cat's crimes.
That is not a crime.
Disobedience
should
to
be.
parents is not a crime, not legally.
Yeah. I would say cruelty to a dumb man.
Cruelty to dumb is
Cruelty
crime.
to dumb. You know, yeah, I 100% should join in, have some fun. Life's way too short to be serious all the time. And,
How long do you live for? When
Okay.
Do you die, cat?
What's the average age of a centaur?
Same as a human's.
Okay. Well, I don't know if Kirv knows the average age of a human either. So,
70.
what? 70. So, we live up to about 70?
I don't know how much that is, but it sounds big.
I don't know how time works from your plane to my plane. A long time. Like 6 times my age. That probably
I
doesn't
hold
help
up my
either.
hand again and look at the 5 digits. More than this.
Then I'll put my hands either side and so 5. So I'll put. Hang on, how old am I? Alright, yeah, okay. I'll put 5
thought
up
you
and
were
2 on the
12.
other side. Yeah, it is. So, that much.
I mean, that's still
I
kind of
know
on
it's
the low end of the spectrum.
Tending to understand.
It's a few years. How old are you? In your years?
20 something. That's what my dad says.
Huh. You're old.
He has a father.
Sorry.
He just walks over in his sleep, says that, and goes back to bed.
Just falls back asleep.
I like to think he's cradling one of the rats like a baby.
No.
Yeah, I would like to think so too. You know what? Never really established it. My mum and dad were older than you though, so I guess you're still young.
Maybe.
Well, here's to all the fun in the world. I'm gonna sort of give her a hug.
Kirv is a little bit static, but sort of gently taps Cat's back with one hand.
You'll get it eventually. I believe in you.
And as your watch comes to a close, you note the weather has not let up. In fact, it has gotten worse.
Oh, can't wait to go out and walk in that.
I can't. What are you on about?
The river that otherwise runs off the main lake, travelling down kind of a hole at the back of the cavern that leads further into whatever system may lie below, is now a bit more brimming, but still travelling, not flooding.
Well, we're gonna have a long day ahead of us, and a very wet one. But if we make good strides, we might actually make it today.
So,
Okay.
you wake, having your breakfast. Is there anything you would like to say to these individuals before you leave? Or say or do, I should say.
Well, I think we're about to head off. Before we do, is there anything else we can do to help?
Unless you have any spare food to help us in case we can't hunt over the next few days. There's not much, I'm afraid.
Oh! I have something! I dig into my bag and I get out my growing mushrooms in my bag.
Oh no.
They are all good. They are edible.
They are the edible ones. As there is a foster of mushrooms at the bottom of your bag.
Yes.
Now, are you
I've been
giving them the
growing.
bag?
I am giving them the mushrooms.
The mushrooms only. Got it.
I need the bag.
Okay. Okay. You otherwise pull them out. The older one otherwise looks at them. Can't say I've had fungus before, but it'll do.
I've been growing them for the purposes of eating. So,
Thank you.
I do. While I'm taking out the mushrooms, I am inspecting them to make sure that they are all healthy and none of them are
They all
ended up turning into the
They all
poisonous ones.
seem to be good ones. Go ahead and roll me a nature check.
Would I get advantage because I've seen the other one as well?
This is just going to be a general nature check here.
Okay.
Just to see, if there is a bad one, if you notice it.
I stopped rolling because I couldn't see my screen.
Right, so that's a 5 plus 2.
Said nature?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they seem fine. There's no foul sense in there. I'll say that you feel confident that there aren't any bad ones.
Good.
Okay. And the rest of you?
So there's 3 adults and 1 child, right?
Yep.
I am going to hand over 4 rations that I've had saved up.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I will say these are. Oh no! I think I pressed something wrong.
We can start here.
There we go.
Oh,
5,
you mean your
there we
character sheet? Yeah.
Yep. There we go. So yeah, I hand over 4 rations. It's not
Okay.
much, but if you're careful. It'll keep you going in if need be.
It's appreciated. Thank you. And it's not much, but maybe you'll find a use for it. And he otherwise pulls out what looks to be kind of this flask and hands it off to you. Might come in handy.
Thank you. Can I ask what it is?
It's something that we use if we were ever in combat. We don't typically engage anything dangerous in our current situation, so we have no use for it, and we'll be able to make more once we get somewhere safer. It's a rage potion.
Free rage, eh?
It is a single use of rage, yes. To you, it will be equivalent to your level worth of rage, so that means that you'll get any bonuses that you would according to your barbarian level. The rest of the party could also drink this, and it will give them one use of rage as if they were a first level barbarian.
Nice. Thank you kindly. I will. I may end up needing it.
You're
I
very
have
welcome.
something that might help you.
Hmm?
I'm going to hand over the scent bags. These might help you in a pinch, whether that's to hunt or deter predators. I don't know if you'll be able to get too much of a use from them, but at least it's something that might help.
In the wet weather, probably not, but certainly once it's cleared up. Thank you. This will come in handy.
No worries. And hope the map sees you well as well.
Thank you. You've all been very generous and kind. Take care and be safe on your journey.
You too, and I hope you find what you're looking for.
You too.
If we end up crossing paths again, well, if you need any help, we'll try our best.
Thank you.
Right. Travel safe.
Always nods to all of you as you otherwise climb back out of the hole. How are you doing that?
I'm doing it easily.
Yeah, you're doing it easily, and there is a rope,
I'm
so it's
doing
fine for
spider
everybody,
form.
except for Cat. All right, spider form it is. Okay, so mark that off as a use. Oh, and by the way, roll wild magic for me, please.
Oh no!
Back.
Welcome back.
Please, roll.
Well, you don't want a fireball, baby?
No, I don't want a fireball a baby!
Long rested, so you
God,
have all your
what did I
stuff
miss?
back, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
man,
so yeah.
that'd be a dark day.
That would be. So you've otherwise all recovered from another long rest, so all of you gain another 3 of your hit count up to your maximum of 5, so all of you should be fully replenished now, which is good. And yeah, so Cat, you cast spider form and climb out of the out of the cave. The rest of you, using the rope, are able to leave without issue. Do you leave the rope and pitten in place? This is more to Vinny than the rest of you.
Those lot could get in and out of here without difficulty, right?
Not without difficulty, no. They were effectively not stuck down here, but only one of them was leaving to go hunting. The others, you can't imagine leaving with a baby is going to be easy.
How much of the rope would I have to leave behind?
Given the length of the sinkhole, about 20 feet worth.
Okay, I have 50 feet, so I'll hold on to the other 30.
Okay, so I'll say you take the excess then.
Yeah. That drops me down to 9 pittons, which should still be fine.
Okay, noted.
And I'll leave that in place for them.
So, with the weather getting heavier, and the road before you, and the area before you becoming a little bit more slick and deeper into the mountains, Romulus, go ahead and roll me a survival check. And I believe the next person to roll on the encounter table is Rebecca. Let's go ahead and roll me 2 d12s, please. And I'm going to assume one of you is going to be doing a perception check as well, so go ahead and do that.
Anyone want to help out with Miss Survival?
Can I help with survival using Jeff to see if I can locate different places or things that we're looking for?
Oh, don't need it. Oh, a nat 20.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll say with the natural.
okay.
I'll say
Well, in the perception.
with the natural 20 and the perception from this plus the random encounter roll, As you are travelling, the weather has gotten worse, as you were able to tell, and the heavy water has caused certain areas to become unsafe with landslides. However, I will say that the travel that would have been impeded by an obstacle due to the natural 20 plus the general aid of Jeff and the successful perception check means that the rest of you are able to travel around the obstacle well ahead of time as to not take away from your journey's travel. You otherwise proceed with good speed, and as it not necessarily as it begins to go dark, but as it is reaching the later portions of the evening with the darker weather, the kind of crackling and flashes of lightning overhead, along with the heavy winds and rain, you begin to see sights, using the map to guide you, of what looks to be an old giant's fortress. You see that it is almost triangular in shape, almost like if you cut the corner off of a square. You note that there is a set of heavy doors that are in place and currently closed, of what looks to be this beautifully carved stone. 2 large iron handles and rings that would otherwise be used to push or pull the door open. 2 massive pillars outside inscribed with all manner of runic writing in giant, and what looks to be a series of crenellations around the outside of the top of the fortress in a defensive manner, and what looks to be a series of 3 slightly smaller towers or arch covers above it that you can just about make out from this distance. As you begin to approach, Kay, you are the first to notice, as you're keeping an eye out for this, of what looks to be a dark form slumped on the stairs leading up towards the fortress.
They're just slumped, like they're like dead, or
I'll say, what was the total of your perception here?
I believe Cat gave me advantage because
I will say that it would. I'll say in this, make me a new one in this instance, just because obviously that helped with the bypassing the challenge. So we'll say, go ahead and make me a new perception check here.
Well, I really wish that didn't happen.
I'll say it's hard to tell. You can see the form, but that's about it. You can see that there seems to be some form of slumped individual.
Is it just Kay, or are we all seeing this?
I'll say you can all see the general outline and what looks to become some kind of smudge on the edge of the stairs. Almost.
How far away, roughly, is this?
About 150 feet currently.
Okay.
So it's a fair distance away still.
And we established that I can bring Jeff back no matter what the range, but I can't go and view him. Okay, I'm going to take Jeff closer, try and get to about 50 foot from it to see what's going on. And I'm holding my action to bring him back.
Okay. As you send...
I was gonna say, with us being closer, am I able to get a better look at it since I noticed it from a farther distance?
I'll say from this distance, if you wanted to get closer to figure out some stuff and continue moving while Kat's doing the scouting with Jeff, I'll allow it.
I'll move a little bit. I'll move a bit closer, but not too far away to where I'm too far from the party.
Okay. Okay, I'll say go ahead and re-roll perception check for you there, Kay, and roll a perception check for Jeff, please, Kat.
Come on, Jeff. Need you to do good. You know what? 17's 16's not bad.
22.
22. The two of you can definitely make out what looks to very much be a body. A humanoid body. Or more accurately, a human body. They're wearing what looks to be kind of these dark bluish robes. They're currently slumped and they have slid to the bottom of the stairs, where Jeff, being closer, can make out a lot more detail of what looks to be a pool of very much dried and still stained blood on these stairs. You can also see there's kind of a general smattering that comes from the doors, but the doors are closed.
Okay.
I'll also say that the two of you note as a kind of faint light blue teal light bounces across the horizon for a little bit and kind of stops not too far away from you, about 100 feet or so. I'll say Jeff is closer, so Jeff gets a little bit of a better look at this, as Jeff does see kind of this light blue tealish light that is bouncing along the ground.
Okay, I will report to the party. So, that thing at the bottom of the stairs is a body in a pool of looks to be dried blood. So, it's not recent, but it's not old. The doors are shut, but there's a light bouncing around down there.
When you say bouncing,
Bouncing off the ground.
Bouncing off the ground.
okay, reflecting.
Oh, I don't know. It's a teal light, so it's kind of it's not reflecting. It's more producing the light. Am I correct to say that?
Possibly. I mean, at the moment, you're not entirely sure what it is until somebody gets a closer look at it.
Okay.
I can go take a look at that if you guys want to look at the body.
I mean, how close is the light to the body?
The light is probably the same distance that that your party is from the body currently.
Okay.
It's just somewhere around the outside of the fortress, and it otherwise begins to kind of slowly bounce in your direction, and then kind of stops, and then keeps going, slowly making its way towards you lot.
So it's heading in our direction?
Vaguely.
Same distance. Okay, so it's vaguely heading our direction. It's the same distance we are to the body. If I don't know what it is. I don't want to take Jeff too close and risk him. I can't guarantee there are consequences to that.
I'd like to try and get closer and see what it is, since it is coming towards us.
Okay.
At least.
How close do you wish to attempt to get to it, Kay?
I want to try and get close enough to where I can, at least, vaguely be able to try and tell what this light is. So, maybe like
2 foot.
Sure, 2 foot. No. Maybe like 30 to 40 feet.
Okay. Okay. I'll say, are you doing this stealthily? Are you doing this hurriedly?
I am going to do this stealthily.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a stealth check. Okay. As you otherwise attempt to creep up on it, whatever this light may be, as you otherwise kind of go over and near crest, you can see that it's looking directly at you. As you otherwise kind of look at it, and you note that it's no bigger than maybe a tiny creature. As it otherwise looks at you, you see what looks to be the body of a rabbit, but with these two kind of large antlers that glow with this light blue light to them. As it otherwise looks at you for a moment, kind of blinks, rubs its nose, and then just kind of hops away from you. And kind of this large arcing leap. You'd probably guess about 25 feet in a single leap.
Where is it heading towards?
A little bit away from you, but kind of curving a bit, so it will go round the party currently.
I try to see if I can get Vinny to come over.
Okay. You gesture for Vinny to come closer.
Can you try speaking to it? It's a rabbit. A weird rabbit, but a rabbit.
Okay, I can give it a try. Right, I am going to use my ring of speak with animals.
Okay.
Excuse me, hello?
It looks in your general direction.
Hi, we're exploring this place. Do you happen to know what's going on here?
The rabbit otherwise looks back at you and kind of hops ever so slightly closer to you. And you can make it out still, as it otherwise looks back at you, and you kind of hear this almost gentle voice say, "Yes, I'm the protector of this place." And Kay, you hear this too, as it speaks common.
The protector of the fortress?
Just this place.
This place.
I've always been the protector of this place.
Since before the fortress was here?
This place? Yes.
Get real Monty Python vibes from this.
So,
Okay, I think I understand.
okay, you guard this place. Do you know what happened to the people that lived alongside you? Or the individuals?
The rabbit looks at the fortress for a moment before kind of looking back. Maybe?
I see.
Maybe?
Well, we don't intend to harm anything here. Do we have your permission to look around since you guard this place?
Kind of gives a general sniff of the air and just looks around. They're your friends.
Can we tell if he's talking about the ones behind us?
Yeah, seems to be, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're with us.
Let me check. And then it bounces past you at a rather rapid speed and hops over, I'd say, about 50 feet away from the rest of you, who now see what looks to be this bright, kind of white and teal coloured rabbit with these kind of four-pronged stag horns that glow this bright teal and cyan coloration.
Oh, this little rabbit with horns. It's cute.
Totally not highly similar to something from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, is it? I've never played them, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, well that is a funny
Hold
coincidence.
on, let me...
Yeah, please do. I don't know. Is this a thing?
I haven't got a carrot for it.
I'm curious now. What on earth is... Show me the rabbit.
You got one, Si?
Oh, okay, it's similar, but
It's not quite a rabbit, but like the
not-
colour scheme that you
it's got like
provided.
a rabbit body. It's got like an owl face. With
yeah, no. In this instance, it's very much a rabbit through and through. It's just got horns.
It's a jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit.
Yes, jackrabbit.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
It's a jackalope, but with a cool colour scheme.
Yeah. Otherwise, looks at all of you. Kind of turns back and you all hear, despite your distance, you all hear quite clearly, not necessarily in your minds, just in general. Yeah, they're okay. She seems friendly. And it bounces towards you, Cat, and otherwise leaps up. I'd like you to make me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, do I get to catch this?
We'll see. Let's see if you roll high
let's
enough.
go. That is 16.
Okay. It bounces up towards you and you kind of catch it and it lands in your arms and you're just kind of holding this very fuzzy and very warm rabbit.
Oh, you're so cute. I love you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cat.
I'm Max.
Max. Oh, how
I'm the
long have you
protector
been here
of-
for?
Years. Many. Many moons.
Oh, you're adorable.
I've protected this place, as was my charge.
Well, it looks like you've done a really good job, as it's all still here.
Thank you.
I'm going to give him a little belly rub.
He accepts it.
Ah! Okay.
I'm okay
Cheers.
with you all entering if you wish.
Well, thank you very much for giving us permission. Do you know what happened to that body on the stairs?
Nope.
Okay.
Out of interest, what is it that you protect this place from?
Things. Nasty things.
Like the things in the sky?
There are sky things.
They are lightning.
Little elementals. Big elementals.
Oh, them. No. They're not nasty things.
Okay, so only nasty things.
You all seem like nice things. I'm Max.
I'm Kay.
It's nice to meet you, Max.
Yeah, we do try to be nice things as often as we can.
I highly doubt that I can incite a rabbit.
Go ahead and try. Let's see if you can beat his persuasion slash deception.
Max is the BVG.
Total?
Max is the new hurricane.
16.
18.
So close.
I didn't roll high either.
Look. If it would have just stayed on that 13, I would have won.
Well,
Yeah, hard to read a rabbit. Who would have known?
that's crazy talk. So, we're gonna go into the fortress. Do you want to come in with us, or do you want to stay out here and carry on with your guarding?
I'll come with.
Okay. Then,
I like you.
oh, I like you too. Oh, just so you know, because, I mean, obviously I have all my friends. This is Tula. I'm going to Tula out. And this is Jeff. I've turned it to Snow White. I've just got loads of creatures around me.
You note that Max otherwise looks at Jeff for a moment. Kind of pauses, just staring at Jeff for like a couple seconds, and then goes, "Okay."
I'm sorry, the position of annoying talking animal friend has already been filled.
Good.
Right. Well then, first things first, shall we go check the body, see what's happened there?
Sure.
No, first things first, I need to see how he reacts to all the rats.
Looks at all the rats. Kind of there's a pause. You have lots of friends.
I do.
My name's Max.
I would like all of them to squeak in unison.
They do. All of the squeaks sound very subtly different. You recognise that all of them have given themselves names. And no, I will not be naming all of them.
Don't worry, I will name them all.
Good.
Of course, the main one I talk to the most has to be Gavin.
Yep. Gavin the rat.
Right, we're protecting that one.
Secretly, they're all just called Gavin.
Dead, extremely dead rat gatekeeper.
Yep.
Okay, well, shall we go and have a look at this body before we attempt this?
Yes.
See just what we're dealing with here.
I'm Max. And with that, I think we'll end the session for the night.
Bye, Max. We'll see you
So-
next time.
So, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we will see you all next week, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh,
Yep.
Yes?
As I'm aware.
Yep.
As far as I'm aware, perhaps though, I may be doing something on either Saturday or Sunday. I don't know which day yet. I will of course do my best to ensure I'm here, but
If you can't, then don't worry. And if we end up being 2 people down for one reason or another, then we'll skip the session and we'll have everybody the week after. Okay?
Okay.
Well, for the stream, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.